Morning, Ren Skywalker. Morning, Tri-Vegan. Thanks for inviting 171 fans to this broadcast, Tri-Vegan. Hope you're going to get on today. Ren Skywalker, I'm good, thank you. I'm well. Some people may be surprised because my smoothie this morning is not green. I got these frozen blueberries, and I don't know, for some reason I feel like it's such a sin to spoil the color that you get when you blend blueberries by putting something green in it. Morning, vegan sister. Good morning, Tina Knox. Vegan sister, I hope you got your technical difficulties worked out and were able to finally get all of your things posted. Yeah, I love it, fam. Tina Knox says, "Hey, fam." That's how I feel this morning. Hey, fam. I had a great experience yesterday. So you guys may have noticed that I didn't get a Friday update posted. I had a friend coming into town, and we were planning to go to Belle Isle, and so I thought that yeah, it's been just a crazy week. Vegan Sister says it's something's in the air because I had Vegan Sister says, well, I think I'm okay now. Good, I'm glad. So I'd been planning to go to Belle Isle and with a friend who is a journalist who's been following my work here, and I thought we could do something really special as an update and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to be all cinema verite, and I was going to do it on my phone, which is something that I like to do. I'm sorry, I just looked down and I noticed that Jack is caught up in the cord, and that at some point he's going to move and it's all going to get shut down. Okay, so anyway, it's back. So yeah, so I was going to go, and I was going to do it on my phone, which is something that I like to do from time to time, just to get good morning, hit like a girl, welcome. Something that I like to do just to have that, just to break it up and like not have everything be so produced, whatever. Pull out my phone, which I had just unplugged from my computer and then not used. We went to Detroit Vegan Soul. Morning, Redneck to Vegan. We went to Detroit Vegan Soul, which was my friend had come with another friend from Detroit. It was the friend's first time being at a vegan restaurant, and was like really surprised that the food was so good. Same thing, right? Vegan food tastes good, whatever. So we get to the park, all ready to go. Hold up my camera, and screen goes black. My battery was dead. So I don't know what app on my phone was running and sucking up power, but whatever it is, I need to do some diagnostics because that app has to go. Because I went to shoot the video, it was dead. So then we ended up shooting it all on my friend's phone. But of course, then, I've got to get that video sent. So I didn't have a Friday update, and I didn't have a special edition yesterday, which is what I had expected to do. So apologies to everyone for those technical difficulties. So yesterday when I saw Vegan Sister posted a video, one of those videos saying, y'all, the videos are coming, but stuff is going on. I felt so much fraternity in that, Vegan Sister, that I think I even mentioned. I think I even made a message saying I'm feeling you right now. Something's in the atmosphere. But so there's going to be a video. Really, it ended up just being about the Belle Isle Conservatory, which is beautiful. However, now this is how circuitous I can be. This goes back to the subject of fam. While we were at the Belle Isle Conservatory, we ran into two very well known in Detroit members of the social justice community, and they have an organization called Hush House, and I'll look it up so that I can give you guys the full, because they don't have a website, they have a Facebook page, And so you might just want to know they actually do have a tripod page that does give information on the organization, but I can't ever get it to really work on my computer. And like, please forgive me, y'all, if trying to open their website my computer crashes. But it is the Hush House Black Community Exhibit and Leadership Training for Human Rights, and it is headed by Dr. Charles Simmons and Reverend Sandra Simmons. Again, this is very circuitous, but it's all coming back. Yes, Redneck to Vegan, that is indeed their website, but you can also find their Facebook page. However, in the community, they're known as Mama Sandra and Baba Charles. And Mama and Baba, I believe, come out of an African tradition, and it basically acknowledges the elders, but acknowledges them in a way that they are, seen as members of the large. They're the mamas and babas in this large universal family that we all belong to. So hearing fam this morning reminded me of a really cool experience that I had introducing some friends from out of town to Mama Sandra and Baba Charles. So was it worth? So was it worth? So was it worth it? A lot of things got tied in. Technical difficulties. My apologies for not posting a video on Friday. Going to Detroit Vegan Soul yesterday with friends who had never been there, and introducing some folks to vegan food, and a trip to Belle Isle. So that's I hope everyone's well this morning. I hope folks are ready to jump in and continue this conversation on organizing in our communities, and how we can, as people maybe without any experience, as professional organizers, how people without experience as professional organizers, or people who are just getting started, or people who've been doing it a while, how can we magnify those skills in our community so that we can do the work that needs to be done, especially in light of the recent election of Donald Trump. And so those are things that that I hope that we'll spend some time discussing today. But as always, with the Sunday live stream, I'm mostly interested in what you have to say. So some questions that came up. Redneck the Vegan asked, is there a soul veg in the D? There is about 4 blocks, maybe 5 blocks from my home, from Alt Space. Nick, there is a spot called Detroit Vegan Soul. Look them up. They are awesome. It was a business that was started by two, and I'm going to shout this out, 2 African American women who had seen, just were, whose African American families were being devastated by that, what we call the post-traumatic slave diet, the diet that comes out of the tradition of slavery and being forced to eat the very worst foods, through African ingenuity transforming those foods into what are now seen as kind of delicacies, but we really know that food's not really that good for us, right? It's not good for us at all. It's not good for us at all. Heavy in, animal products, and just, is killing people. So transforming, what I think of as the healthiest people on the planet, right? Coming from like the seat of civilization, from Africa, right? Where there's nothing but abundance, and being transformed into the sickest people on the planet, or at least in the United States. So Detroit Vegan Soul, if you find yourself in Detroit, certainly if you come to visit me here at AltSpace, one of the first things we'll probably do is take a trip over to Detroit Vegan Soul, so that you can be welcomed into, the Detroit vegan part of the Detroit vegan food movement. I really love Detroit in terms of, because people think of Detroit as a food desert, and there certainly are challenges to access to healthy, sustaining food. And there has been, a very strong movement here in Detroit to turn that around. And I was lucky the last time I was at Detroit Vegan Soul to run into a gentleman named Malik Yakini, who heads I believe it is the Detroit Black Food Security Network, and he is also the leadership over at a place called D-Town Farms, which is on the west side of Detroit. We also have a farm over here on the several farms. People are farming all over the city, I have to say, but one in particular is Feed 'em Freedom, that focuses on urban farming as part of building a movement for social justice. I see Redneck the Vegan is shouting out Urban Black Vegan, who's in New York City. Yes. And you are on the ball, Nick. You're so helpful right now because you've been posting links. If folks are paying attention, there are links that have just been popping up in the chat to most of the things that I've been talking about, and some other resources. So nobody's biting at the bit right now to jump on and guest right now, talking about organizing for beginners, which is totally cool because this is your time as much as it is my time. But I'd love, as I said before, to get you up here talking about stuff. So just some of the resources that have been sold. There's a place that I believe is called Soul Veg Tallahassee, which I guess is in Tallahassee, Florida. That's over where you are. And there are links to that, so folks who are in that area, or if you're visiting the Tallahassee area, there's a resource for you to have access. I'll watch on TV and avoid red carpet toll. So there's a conversation going on here in the thread. I just want to know if I'm missing anything. No, I think we're okay. Okay. Well, see, this is why I bring food to the talk. Oh, okay. So there was a. All right. So okay. So all that said, I want to talk to y'all this morning, and I've already been chatting. Nick, you and I have already been chatting, and we could talk a little bit about that because there's some. We were talking about just the something that's been happening that we've been noticing in terms of this tolerance for a certain, like, a level of mediocrity that we are seeing, both as part of the vegan community here on YouTube. People just being really lazy about their principles, lazy about the diligence that they do in in really trying to be sure that they're bringing the best, most accurate information to the viewers on their channels, be that information about the politics of this community, information about health, information about each other, right? So there's just kind of a laziness that we see, and I was trying to link that to the kind of laziness in terms of diligence with information that we saw during this election process. And I was recently checking out John Oliver, and John Oliver, I think it's live this week, might be the show, and I'll try to post some links to it, but did a wonderful segment really just talking about how atrocious we saw folks being, in terms of allowing inaccurate information to really become viral on the internet, and how our president-elect was one of the sort of biggest proponents of disseminating information that was wildly inaccurate. And I would love to know how people feel about that, and how people what people feel might be the counters to that, or how people feel that might be addressed. But the thing that Redneck to Vegan, I believe you were really pointing out, that it's symptomatic of something that is just happening in our world today, and I would love to have you come on and talk a little bit about that. And then just in general, there's some folks here that I've never had a chance to chat with live, and I don't know if I don't know if I have the power. I wish I had the power to just like select your name, and I bet there is something I can do. I wish I had the power to just kind of like click. Is there a way I can click on people's names and have them just like pop up in the guest queue? Vegan Sister, do you think fake news contributed to the outcome of the election? Hells yes, I think false news contributed to the outcome of the election. And sadly, the media was very late in jumping on that, right? So people laughed along and let Donald Trump say all the things that Donald Trump had to say about, immigrants and, the economy and President Obama being the founder of ISIS, right? Really ridiculous. That's not true. Barack Obama is not the founder of ISIS. I just want to make that really clear before anybody runs with that information. But these were all things that were just being spouted without challenge. And by the time the media started challenging these things, it may have been too late. The bell had been rung and could not be unrung. So, what did happen? So Lily's saying, what did happen? Are you referring to, what happened with the election and all the poor information? You saw. I mean, I hope the news got. I hope the news got over to you. I think you're in Paris, and I hope the news got to you. If it hasn't, Donald Trump was elected president of the United States. This is so not funny. I'm sorry, everyone. And I don't mean to come off as being glib or like I don't care, because it is. It's going to have an impact. It's going to have a huge impact. And I'd be happy to talk about some of those impacts as well. The whole motivation for the Organizing for Beginners series was to give people the tools that they would need to counter some of the effects that we are, really looking forward to. Can I say that? Um, I knew he was elected, but I mean the wrong information. Oh, it was just it's all over the place. I mean, there was information about, like the piece of information that I shared was, that Barack Obama started ISIS, was one of the pieces of information that Trump was, you know uh, known to have, tweeted, and one of the things that he was doing, he was tweeting these things. Yes, did it come out as false later on? Yeah, yes, all these things came out as false. The press went into overdrive, um, attempting to uh, counter dispel some of the rumors and the false information that had been spread throughout the election. And I was referring to a specific John Oliver segment, which uh, I can post a link to the segment that really just gets in where John Oliver digs into um, the press. uh, I'm posting that right now. So the video, the show is Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and I believe it's President-elect Trump, and it's actually a show that airs on HBO, but the episodes are available online, and I hope. Nope, that's not it. I'm trying to post for you guys. Okay. So I don't know if you guys just heard all that. Fortunately I'm wearing these earphones, so I just started the video. Okay, so now I've posted a link. That's a link to the John Oliver episode. Another great thing that John Oliver does in that video is he talks about like real issues that will likely need to be addressed because of a Trump presidency and things that people can do to counter that. And so that's another issue that something else that I think it would be great to talk about, or what are some of the things that people fear, some of the thing who do we feel, what do we feel will be under attack with a Donald Trump presidency. And depending on what sources you check, there are you get different answers from different sources. But there are certain ones are highlighted. I was checking out something that was published by the BBC on November 9th, and they talked about, principally women being a group that may be targeted and see their liberties under attack because of a Donald Trump presidency. Muslims in the U.S. and abroad should be, very concerned about a Donald Trump presidency. Hispanics, specifically the 11 million immigrants who are present in the 11 million immigrants who are, illegally present in the United States, who have had their presence in the United States criminalized. Um, Donald Trump has, said very directly that he wants to see those people, deported. Um, the New York Times talked specifically about how it's not, that we shouldn't be as concerned about the economy, or we shouldn't be looking for huge shifts in the economy because of a Donald Trump presidency. That a lot of the claims that were made by Donald Trump about things that he would do to boost the economy, that we're not going to see those changes, certainly not in the first 4 years of his presidency. And so what we might likely see as a way to keep his base mobilized, that he might dig in even further, and we might see even more those the intensified forms of identity politics that we saw working for him so well during the election. And so the New York Times had an article about that, and I failed to grab a link to that, so that I'm not so I can't post a link to it, but I will search it and make sure that I include that for you. So who wants to talk about those things? Who's got some opinions about, either, again, the ongoing topic of how to organize in our communities. And Vegan Sister, I hope you got to see part 2 of Organizing for Beginners, because in that video, that video addressed specifically something that came up in the last live stream. There wasn't one last week, but 2 weeks ago, in that last live stream, Vegan Sister, you brought up, the challenges of organizing in a community where there are such disparate groups who are all occupying the same geographic location but don't communicate with each other, are often at odds with each other. Yes, I did post part 2, Vegan Sister. It's okay. I know there's so many of us, this community, and I feel like there is a community. There's a segment of the vegan YouTube community that is growing, that is really trying to look at the world through an intersectional lens, where we're looking at the types of oppression that are existing, not only with animals that exist based on gender, that exist based on race, and all of the other differences that get used to divide us into groups that will never be able to work together as long as we think of ourselves as operating in these silos, which we don't. So I think we have a quote here coming from Redneck to Vegan, and I'm reading it, saying, it says, "A tribe, all you black folks, you must go. All you Mexicans, you must go. And all you poor folks, you must go. Muslims and gays, boy, we hate your ways." Is that a song? Is that a song? A good song about how they see the upcoming president. Okay. And the group is called A Tribe Called Quest. Is that from their new album? That's a Tribe Called Quest dropped a new album. Yes? Have people listened to it? Should I listen to it? Should I do a review on the channel? Should we maybe talk about it next week? I don't know. Does this mic? I'm guessing that you guys can obviously hear me, right? So yes. Um, So definitely, yeah. So the LGBTQ community is definitely, is we're going to see the LGBTQ community under attack. We're going to see immigrants under attack. Um, we're going to see all of these groups that have been demonized on the right. um,
we're going to see them. I think we're going to see them under attack, because that strong base for Donald Trump, or what seemed to have worked for Donald Trump, was really this baiting of marginalized, baiting of people, hate baiting, hate mongering for towards marginalized groups. And so, um, there's a vegan called Quest. I have not. So there's a channel called a vegan called Quest. I would. Everybody's chatting in the box. You guys could just as easily just be coming on, and we could just have this conversation. So as it stands now, I gotta read you. I don't mind reading you. It's fine. I'll take up the whole time. I'll sing something. Maybe I'll just sing a little something. Now, see, I'm sure there's gonna be somebody who's gonna be like, no, sing right now. Um, but yeah, so people are, the question that was posed was, what are things that people believe are going to be under attack. So we got free speech under attack, and Donald Trump actually talking about the libel, something about he's going to open up the libel laws or something, so that every time somebody says something that's not true, they're going to be thrown in jail, or going to be sued or something like that. And this is another one of his false statements, right? So that now we believe that there is there's this libel, this libel mechanism in place, this mechanism in place that will go into default when people libel whatever. I don't know. That's not true. I want to know what you guys think about it, but definitely free speech being under attack. Um, Something else that I don't know. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tommy Lehrer either. So Tommy Lehrer is, really the darling of the alt right, who has a YouTube channel. It's kind of along the lines of like the Young Turks, who is just notorious for attacking progressive movements. A particular she particularly loves to attack the Black Lives Matter movement, and does everything that she can to categorize that as a terrorist movement, calling it the new Ku Klux Klan. And so Tommy Lehrer was on Trevor Noah, and Trevor Noah had an opportunity to, one, give her a platform, which I always think is a little bit scary unless you know your game is tight, to bring someone on, to give a platform to someone who, is like Tommy Lehrer. She's notorious for just telling lies. Just telling lies. You guys maybe remember a few weeks back, I had Blair Anderson, who was one of the members of the original Black Panther Party, and she categorizes the Black Panther Party as terrorist, completely ignoring the fact that the Black Panther Party was known most in the communities that they were part of for doing things like food programs that were so popular that the government began food programs to undermine the work of the Black Panther Party. Vegan Sister says, I think she says that for views. Yeah, sure, she says it for views, but it's still dangerous. It's dangerous language, and it's not like I want to shut it down, but I just do think that it's important when those messages are being shared that we get the counter version, right? That we get a counter version of history, because it's very easy for someone as pristinely presented as Tommy Lehrer, looks like, butter wouldn't melt in her mouth, right? There's no way that, that figure, and we're talking about in terms of historically how, you go check her out, because I don't want to say things that make me end up looking like I have attitudes about her. You check it out, and then you let me know what you think. And folks, I know you have access now, so you can go and just check out Tommy Lehrer. But Tommy Lehrer was on Trevor Noah, and I believe is it late the Daily Show with Trevor Noah, and I am going to post a link to that interview And one of the things that Tommy Lehrer does is criticize the methods that are used in protesting, criticizing the methods that are used in protesting. And a great thing that Trevor Noah does is just ask the question, well, what do you think are appropriate forms of protest? And it was a question that Tommy Lehrer was not able to answer. Not I don't want to say not able to answer, but didn't want to answer. Didn't want to answer. And the truth of the matter is that there is no way that there can be a protest against the dominant culture without those spokespersons for the dominant culture saying that's the wrong way to do it. The right way to do it is to just keep your damn mouth shut, go sit down and cook my food, clean my house, do my nails, take out my trash. Right, vegan sister. She wants no protesting, right? So there are lots of videos in response to the Trevor Noah Tommy Lehrer interview with people basically saying the same thing. Like, come on now, you don't want any form of protest. Anyone that you think has an opinion or a view of the world that runs counter to the status quo is a terrorist, because the dismantling of the current dominant cultural system, this like framework, this violent framework that we live in, and anyone that is interested in dismantling that is a terrorist, because it's destroying the world of a certain group of people who are benefiting greatly from it. So of course that's scary, and Tommy Lehrer has every right to say, shut up, y'all. But then we have every right to say, of course you want us to shut up, because we coming for you. we coming for you, right? So Lily says, often what people tell me when I share Afrocentric things, this is not a good way. But as soon as you ask, well, what is a good way? Yes, the good way is to keep your mouth shut and don't Afro nothing. Don't Afro nothing. In fact, no lie, relax. No lie, relax, y'all. Don't Afro nothing. No lie, relax. That is how you protest in a way that will be condoned by the members of the dominant elite, by the members of our social elite. But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Hi, hey, Nikki Wonderful. There a bunch of people came in, and I've been running my mouth and have not been a good host at all. Hello to everyone who's joined us for the live stream. Nikki Wonderful, what a great name, Nikki Wonderful. Who else has come in that I may have missed? VegMex, thank you for inviting 173 fans to this broadcast. I hope they all showed up. Kearney, how'd you sneak in? So Kearney, I'm going to say this. It may never get posted, so I'm going to just tell you. So while I was at the conservatory yesterday, there were hibiscus. Is that what they are? Hibiscus? Are those the flowers that you grow in your garden? The really big, beautiful, colorful flowers? But they had some. And if I had posted it yesterday, you would have gotten a shout out. Kearney, you would have gotten a shout out. But I didn't post it. So you didn't get the shout out. And I hope it's okay. So hanging out here, we're about halfway through this broadcast today, and I haven't had a guest. And I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing okay on my own. For those of you who missed it, I'm drinking this smoothie is frozen banana. It's fresh squeezed orange juice. Yes, I did break down and get the fresh squeezed, even though it's more expensive. But the boiled whatever it is just tasted so rancid to me. It just tasted bad to me. It felt like I was drinking poison, so I went back to the other. And then there's a lot of water, so it's a frozen banana, blueberry, fresh squeezed orange juice, and water smoothie that I'm enjoying this morning. Side note from Redneck to Vegan. How many of you think Sherry Papini is telling the truth? Okay, so we need some background I really think Nick, the way to do this is for you to jump on and talk to us about Sherry Papini. But um, so two Mexican women kidnapped her. I call BS on her. I want to know the story. What happened? Somebody, come on, y'all. Somebody has to come on now, even if it's just to tell the story. I won't grill you. Sherry Papini abducted. Husband details California women's rescue. How about this? I will look this up and do some reading on it, and then maybe if that's something that is the that people feel like they need to know more about. If people don't want to just go and research it on their own, I'm happy to do some research and bring it back. This is reminding me of a couple of things. Okay. Okay, so I want to talk about Sherry Papini. I don't know a lot about Sherry Papini. I would much rather have that conversation, if somebody would come on and guest so that we can just hear the story and then have a little bit of back and forth about that. Otherwise, it's something that I'll do some research into. I think she's lying and race baiting. Okay, so all right. So I don't know about the Sherry Papini, but I did. And this is going to sound so petty, but I think sometimes these things are important, like what is being put out in terms of popular culture. And I don't know, has anyone heard about the Netflix show American Crime? And has anyone heard about the Netflix show American Crime? Oh, thanks, Nick. I think is going to look up and be able to bring us some details about that. The race issue was what I. And so the reason that I'm bringing this up, the reason that I'm bringing it up is that I think that it relates very strongly to this issue of how crimes and the way that they are reported and the public response to crimes is part of this maintenance of racism, particularly in the United States. And the reason that I'm bringing up the show American Crime, which if you haven't heard about it, and Viga Sista, it sounds like you haven't heard about it. I'm telling you, I didn't hear about it until 2 days ago, and I watched the first episode late on Friday night and fell asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, having binge watched 5 episodes, and then woke up in the morning and watched the remaining 6 episodes. Really powerful show, looking at the way suspects are immediately labeled guilty in the media, and how the public outcry is specifically when the person who is the suspect is a person of color. And the show really captures the role that race plays in the criminal justice system and ensuring that people of color are going to be convicted, not only whether or not they're guilty, and not to say that a lot of people who are convicted aren't guilty, but regardless of their guilt, the color of their skin makes them guilt. Their status in terms of their citizenship can label them guilty or not guilty. The person is, if the person is considered to be, illegal, right? And I hate to use that term, illegal, a person being illegal. The person's status has been criminalized in the United States, but people whose status has been criminalized are those faces are thrown up on the screen, and people look at those faces and say that looks like a criminal, because we've been told that those people are criminals already. And the show looks at the difference between the way that people who identify or are white passing move through the system in ways that are very, very different than people of color. The sad thing is that it's a show, right? The show is called American Crime. And the sad part is that it's a show, and so it seems that the show, and it's on Netflix. because it's a show, it might seem like it's being sensational, or it mean like, but in terms of, the reading that I've done, reading Michelle Alexander, looking at the history of the criminal justice system and how it was, created, really created as an extension of slavery, um, it so closely captures what I understand as the truth about the criminal justice system and the way that it deals with people of color and people whose status the U.S. has been criminalized in other ways, that I feel it's important that people watch the show. And the thing that I feel it does best, yes, innocent equals white. And really, the show does a whole head trip on us in terms of that. But one of the other things that I think the show does very well is that it presents these characters who are doing things that we might look at and consider racist. But in the context of the legal system, they're allowed to be that way. They're allowed to think that way. They're allowed to have those feelings, thoughts operating, and the system supports it. So, again, like really demonstrating the idea that racism isn't about me not liking you. Racism is about the fact that me not liking you means that I can have you put in prison just because I don't like you. I can hate you till the cows come home, but if, I don't have any power to do anything about it, then I just hate you. But hate is when, racism and it's really watch. I really highly recommend the show. And not now. That whole thing happened. That was a little heavy thing. On a lighter note, and this is just a little side note. A year later, I don't know when. You guys are gonna hate me now, but I also watched Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters with the all female cast of the Ghostbusters. I have a guest. I'm gonna come on. I have a guest, y'all. So I'll talk about Ghostbusters later. But the reason I'm talking about Ghostbusters, it gets back to the issue of discrimination. So here we go. This is reminding me of. Hey.
Hey, Reg.
Good morning. I would say good morning, but actually we've been at it since what, 6 o'clock this morning.
I get up early.
Well, clearly we both do. But and so you're having your orange juice. I didn't mean to. I hope I'm not dissing your orange juice by being like, I only drink fresh squeezed orange juice.
No, if I could get it, I'd drink it too.
Okay, all right. So, are you here? There's a lot.
It's a pretty good brand.
Okay, they paying you?
I wish.
Then they might sue you for putting their label up. That's the world we live in.
I don't have any money.
That's the world we live in. All right, so there's so many things that we could talk about right now, Nick. We could talk about. You brought up an incident with an abduction.
Well, see, I've been wondering about this because I haven't seen anybody talk about it. And let me say this to start with before anybody. I got to be careful. I forget, my perspective is different than other people's, and I hopefully by saying this, I don't mean to offend anybody, or if you know anybody that's ever been abducted, or I'm not trying to belittle this if it's true. And I'll tell you why I've had some red flags come up. But there's this woman named Sherry Papini that was abducted, I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks ago while she was out on a run, like a jog. And she was missing. And like, I think, I don't know, a week ago maybe, just recently, 7 days ago, she was spotted chained up on the side of a road by a woman that passed her by. Like, I don't know if she was chained to a guardrail or she was just chained up. But yeah, and they found her, and her story is that she was abducted by 2 Mexican women and held and beaten, but there was no ransom. There was no effort to profit from this crime. And I don't know, call me crazy, but I tend to try to look at like profit motives and things like, why do people do what they do and what's the rationality behind it? And And another thing too is whenever you hear about a kidnapping, it's never two women. That's like hearing about a black serial killer. It just doesn't fit the profile. It's not something you see. And so that was a red flag. And the fact that nobody asked for any money and these two women committed a crime that could put them in jail for the rest of their lives for no reason other than just to beat up some woman. So I don't know. That's what stands out to me. And then some of the stories I've been reading are conflicting, and hopefully I'm wrong, but that just is why I was curious what other people thought, because for me, there's no motive to kidnap her. And then also it's come out that she has previously been posting on white supremacist skinhead sites 8 years ago that she had some kind of like problems in high school with Hispanic girls and things like that. So to me, there's too much history. There's too much stuff. Like I can't tell you for sure that I'm right, but I'll tell you what. If I had to bet a finger, I bet a finger she's lying.
Okay. I'd hope you didn't lose a finger over that.
I'm getting in a lot of trouble lately because I tend to, I guess, shoot my mouth off or shoot my fingers off on the keyboard. But
no trouble here.
I said something about punching Charles a vegan cheetah in the head, and everybody's flipping out about it. I was like, shit, it's just a euphemism. I mean, like I said,
come on now. You don't give that ammunition though. Of course, right? But you're in a forum where, especially when you're going against, a popular individual.
Look, I don't give a damn. If somebody's going to focus on the little minutia of my argument instead of the greater, bigger picture of what I'm trying to say, then they're crazy as shit to begin with, and I don't have time for them.
I'm gonna say a couple of things. Okay, first of all, no, we're not gonna. First of all,
I'm sorry if I'm cussing.
We're not gonna throw people who have been like labeled crazy and all those things. We're not gonna throw them in that basket. We're gonna talk about the small-mindedness. We can talk about the small-mindedness though that we see prevalent on YouTube, in the vegan community, and we're talking about particular, individuals, right? Because, like, again, we were comparing the fact that certain voices have been placed on a pedestal, and those voices don't necessarily represent the majority of folks in the vegan community, right? And those voices aren't even necessarily defenders of the movement. They're not animal rights, they're not advocates of animal rights. They don't necessarily care about even being consistent in their diet. And we see those voices being lifted, right? And there's kind of a laziness that comes along with this. Oh, well, I like the person because I like the way they do this. So what if they ate cheese? And so what if they don't care about... And so we're talking about a mindset that is pretty small already. And so it shouldn't be surprising when somebody gets nitpicky, because it was the whole thing is it's a nit that was picked and then put under a magnifying glass and turned into the whole thing, right? It's the tail wagging the dog already.
Well, and Reg, what I was like, if you're saying about the fact that they're nitpicking at what I'm saying, then why the hell aren't they nitpicking at Charles for eating the damn cheese on his bread?
What I'm saying is the nitpick is the gossip channel to begin with, is the nitpick, right?
Okay, listen.
It's all nitpicking.
I don't begrudge Charles for doing gossip, and that's fine if he wants to report on gossip and do all that. I mean, that's fine. But when you start co-opting something that I take very seriously and means a great deal to me, and you twist it around for your own profit and your own benefit, it's no different, Reg, than if I was a parent of a child that died in a Mothers Against Drunk driver accident, and he got on there and said that he was the mad cheetah and that we can't ever end drinking and driving, that we're just going to go ahead and excuse people when they drink and drive, and that they're trying better. That's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. And I'm getting mad right now just thinking about it.
Come on.
But the bigger picture is here, I don't hate Charles. I hate what he's saying and what he's doing, because it's not right, and he's co-opting something that is very important to a great many people, and he's profiting from that drama that he's creating, and it's bullshit. It is total garbage, and I'm not going to stand for it. If he wants to say that he's plant-based and pick on vegans, then that's fine. If he wants to be the plant-based cheetah, then that's fine. But veganism is bigger than just a diet, okay? It's bigger than a diet.
Mm-hmm. See, I guess what I'm talking about here is, and I'm not I don't want you to think I'm arguing with you.
No, I listen.
I think what I just hold on. Let me hear. What I want to talk about though is I kind of want to go back to the Trevor Noah. Maybe it's Trevor.
Okay.
Maybe it's Trevor Noah. Or maybe it was John Oliver. I was watching a lot of both of them this morning, and they talked about like arguing with a toddler.
Oh, yeah, I kind of feel like that sometimes too. Like, I'll be honest with you. See, I'm weighing this out, Reg. I'm with you on that. I know that I'm talking to an idiot here at some point, all right? Because I watched his YouNow stream the other day for like 2 hours. And be honest with you, when I first got on there, I was leaving some comments and I was mad. And some of the shit he was saying was pissing me off. And then it just started becoming like thoroughly sad and pathetic. He's sucking on a vape. He's talking to some drunk ass dude in New Zealand, and they're order 66. And I'm like, what the? It's just some like. And so I was like, why am I even wasting my time with this? And then I was like, screw it. And then a day or two passes, and I started realizing the reason why I'm doing this isn't because of Charles. It's because when people go and read his shit that are 15, 16, 17 years old, I want there to be a counter argument popping up over there in the right-hand corner so they can watch a rebuttal video.
Cole, hold on.
I'm doing this shit.
Hold on. I want to slow you down just because I'm trying to take care of because we got folks in the comments who just want to make sure that they can keep up with us because we've gone into it. I think we may have made a mistake by making it we're not talking about any particular individual. Actually, we are right now to demonstrate a point. But I think this again goes back to what we were saying earlier, where you have a voice out there that is disseminating false information, that is co-opting a message, a positive message, and using it for whatever type of gain. And I don't want to get into people's motivation because I don't know. There's so many other things to think about. But when we look at this, what are the looking at it not as that individual being the problem, but it being a symptom of a larger problem.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
And so Lily was asking, what was it that happened? It's not again. I don't want to get too much in. There was I think a particular. You
want me to say it?
You could talk about it, but I'm just saying, and basically that you're right now. You're a little bit. You're tired of it. You're tired of the misinformation, and you feel like somebody should be presenting counter arguments. And so you've taken upon yourself to start presenting those counter arguments on your channel. So you want to talk a little bit about that too?
Well, no, the thing that got me is I don't know if anybody else has noticed this over the last.
Give us some background so that we can be sure everybody can keep up.
I've been really involved with the election up until beginning of last month, and then I kind of was out of the YouTube making videos and all, getting on and looking at stuff, and then I started getting back into it. And one thing I noticed is there's been a huge drop off in people that I've followed. I mean, Reg has been consistent, and there's been some other people that have been consistent, but I mean, some of these people I followed, not because I was like following their ideals, but because I like to get all kinds of different perspectives. I mean, if you could see the channels I'm subscribed to, there's some of them that you'd be like, why the hell is he subscribed to that shit? And it's because the same reason is I don't want to be caught in a box where I'm hearing the same thing all the time. Mm-hmm. So just because I don't like you and I don't like what you do doesn't mean you can't teach me something. How's that? So when I go out and when I'm seeing this stuff, I've seen a dramatic drop in positive animal rights based veganism, and I've seen this huge explosion in this like genre of like pseudo veganism where it's like based on like a fashion lifestyle type of thing, like aesthetics. Like I've never heard anybody say aesthetics so much when the cow doesn't give a shit if you're fat or skinny as long as you don't slit his throat. So that's irrelevant. So I've seen this big drop off. And then in that vacuum, I've seen Charles's videos more than I have before. And when I started watching them, I mean, I always knew he was kind of like, I wasn't attracted to his message. But at the same time, I see him blatantly leaving evidence of anti-vegan actions on his channel, claiming to be a vegan animal rights activist. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it was no different than if there's someone out there saying that it's like all these people that have been in Congress, Reg, that are passing all this legislation against homosexuality, and they're in the damn bathroom playing footsies. You remember that guy from Utah a couple years ago? He was the number one senator passing legislation against homosexuality, and he's in the bathroom having homosexual activities. So it's the shit like this.
Right. Somebody who should have been somebody who.
What we're seeing, he probably had a damn turkey for Thanksgiving. All right. So
yeah,
we're iceberg.
We're talking about people who should be advocates. People who should be advocates for things. They're going the other way, and they're demonizing homosexuality. And here we have Charles, and one might say, and I have to admit it because
off it, Reg, it's profiting. This guy in Utah was a conservative Republican that bashed homosexuality, that stepped all over homosexual people's rights, and at the same time, he profited from that. They're suffering, just like Charles is trying to profit from crushing veganism.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the question is, I think that this is important though, and it's something that, because we're not talking about Charles as a person, right? We're talking about something that has been happening in the vegan community. We're seeing the loudest voices. We're seeing a shift in terms of folks who have more to gain from people continuing to eat meat than they have to gain from people going vegan. Or they have more to gain by catering to a non-vegan audience who takes pleasure in seeing veganism, seeing veganism bashed. And so with that as the case, why is it possible? How have we let let's say it's a movement, right? It's a movement. How have we let it be completely co-opted to the point where the loudest, fastest growing vegan channel is actually against veganism? Categorizing vegans as losers, characterizing vegans as hippies, and I don't want to bash this individual, but I'm just saying, how is it that is possible?
I don't even think it's. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Reg, but come on. I don't think it's just vegan cheetah either. Maybe it's because you and I are older. I'm in my 40s, all right, and I've developed a level of consistency that I like to have in my life, and there's certain things that in my life, certain things haven't changed for many years. So I don't see that level of consistency continuing here. Like, I hope to be here 5 years from now making animal rights videos for promoting veganism and trying to convert people through veganism or to veganism through YouTube. All right, but I think a lot of people get into this to like make money. I'm even thinking about unmonetizing my videos. I've never gotten a check, so it's pointless. But again, it's not about the money; it's about the message. Mm-hmm. All right, and like right now, like Marshall McLuhan said, the message is the medium. Right now, the medium is this cyber portal that we're all using, and I'm not concerned about reaching people my age or people older than me. I'm concerned about reaching the youth, the people that are going to be in control in 40 or 50 years, that are going to be able to make changes, because we're all going to be dead. So I don't know. I've been really, really concerned the last couple months with the fact, like, let me say some positive things real quick, all right? Because
come on.
I don't know if you saw one of my last videos. I had some words with a guy named Paul Bashir, because he apparently is very close with Durian Ryder, and I said some like bad shit about Durian Ryder on one of his videos, and he got offended, said some rough stuff to me, and then I said some rough stuff back. Nevertheless, I'm sorry if he sees this. I apologize for what I said. I don't care if he apologizes for what he said or not. I'm still going to follow him and support him. Why? Because he's about the damn animals, and it's called Anonymous for the Voiceless, all right? Paul Bashir, he's got satellites all over the world going on. Joey Carbstrong goes to these events. Other big YouTubers go to these events, and it's where they wear the anonymous mask, and they hold computers, and they show slaughterhouse footage, and people can walk up and see it and stuff. And it's things like that. It's people like Paul, and like I said, I feel bad that I got off a bad start with him. It's people like Paul who don't that don't sit there and give shit lip service, that get out there and do it. You know, I'm not saying getting on YouTube is giving it lip service. What I mean by giving it lip service is not following through with actions, not producing something to benefit what you're going for. And by degrading and talking down and profiting financially off of something, I don't think anybody that really cares about the animals cares if they get rich. Maybe that's me. Maybe I'm full of shit. I don't know. But I think the people that really give a shit about the animals aren't in this for a fucking dollar. And they're not trying to profit and make a living off of YouTube by saying veganism is a lifestyle. It's not, you know, it's so much bigger than even a lifestyle. It's a mindset. All right. It's a way of, like, being vegan and having developed vegan eyes has allowed me to see things that I would have never been able to conceptualize or understand otherwise.
Okay, hold on one second. Thanks for that, Nick. And I just want to
I'll get out of here. I've been taking up too much time.
There's a lot of stuff here that's been happening in the chat. You know, a lot of folks are in agreement. You know, but a lot of folks, good points. Totally true. We're shown bad examples. Consistency is key. Juice is saying. We're seeing that some people are in the stereotypes, and maybe they were the first ones to think about opening YouTube channels. Like maybe people who fit that stereotype have become the face of veganism, and we only want to see, and this is Lily Kay saying this, we only want to see that face now because it's been established. Started with stereotypes about being vegan, hippie, skinny, young, etc.
That's why I chose my name, Redneck the Vegan. If a fucking old redneck can become a vegan, then anybody can do it. All right.
Vegan Sister says, preach. Lily Kay saying, people like drama, so they're given what they want. I'd like to hear more, Lily Kay, about what you mean by that. Hit Like a Girl saying that veganism is a mindset. People talking about social justice. Kearney saying, true. So, you know, thank you all for for chiming in on that. So I think. I don't know how we leave from this discussion, but it seems to me, again, you know, that what we're talking about here is a symptom of a larger problem, and we might have to.
Reg,
wait, hold on, because we're at the end. We're at the end, and so I think we just have to plan to, you know, I hope that you got to make some time in your schedule next week, because we have to come back and we have to finish this conversation, because I feel like we've talked a lot about the symptom. We're in like the ranty mode, and I'm like there, because we got to get through that, right? But I think what we really have to talk about is what is the problem that this is a symptom of, and then what is it that we can be doing to counter some of that, because if it's poison, then there's got to be some kind of an antidote.
I think there's two issues that we'll talk about, Reg. One of them being the fact that there's an inconsistency and a lack of adherence to like principles and convictions when you say you believe in something, and then there is the profit and fame motive. I think those are separate, okay? Because the larger I think the profit and fame motive is for one person type of thing, but the whole lack of accountability to whether you reach what your potential is or not, that is a societal-wide problem, a worldwide problem. I think it's been proliferating over years. That's something that is outside of the vegan realm, that is society-wide, I think. But,
I think
as far as ending on something good, I don't know.
I'm not saying we have to end on something good. I'm just saying that we have to end with like, what is our question to come back to? That's all. But if you want to end with something good,
I'll have to end with something good, Ray.
Come on, give it a shot. Come on.
I got a story about why I always have to end with something good. That'll have to come another time. But there's a reason why you have to always end with something good, with positivity.
Come on.
If people ever think they're getting down and we're not getting anywhere, just remember, I'm working with kids every day, and this generation is more compassionate than any other generation that's walked the face of the earth. And the fact that this is happening, it's being captured. I'm not trying to promote my video or anything, but you can go look it up for yourself. There was a couple in New York City less than a month
I saw it.
That was out on a tour.
Come on, tell it.
Marriages. Some activists came by in a car.
And just to make sure that everybody heard it, there was a couple, they were in New York City in Central Park, and they were taking a horse and carriage ride. Keep going.
And they were approached by some really ingenious activists that offered to pay their tab and finish the tour in the park in an eco-friendly antique electric car, and they did it. They happily did it. So that right there should show you, because you and I both know that, more and more people are becoming accepting to animal rights, ending animal abuse, once they know that there's an alternative and they don't have to do it. It's ridiculous. So there is hope. I'm not saying there's not hope. I'm just saying that, there's still some work to do.
Right. I hear you. But I'm gonna say this: let's not let hope make us lazy.
Oh, of course not.
Because along with hope, I hope there's a lot of work. I hope there's a lot of work. So that said, Nick, I want to thank you for joining us, Redneck to Vegan. I want to join you for thank you for joining us on the channel. I'm gonna say goodbye to you, and we're gonna do a little.
Yeah.
We're gonna. So, whew, that was one of those. So this has been a really fun talk, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. So yeah, we're going to talk about, again, we're going to be continuing with organizing for beginners. If you haven't caught parts 1 and 2, part 1 is about just, defining your community, and part 2 is about building relationships. Our third segment, I'm pretty sure our third segment is going to be about how to hold a meeting. How to hold an effective meeting, because I feel like that is a skill that is very much lacking in movement building. People get gathered in spaces and don't quite know how to get discussions going and how to keep them going and how to keep a lot of people engaged. So we're going to be talking about organizing. Part 3, organizing for beginners, is going to be how to hold an effective meeting. So I hope that you will check that out, and then join me back here next week for another live stream. We're going to be picking up this conversation, talking about what's going on in this particular community and how can we be better organizing ourselves and facing some of the challenges that we face. So that's it, y'all. I guess so. I'm getting more into the talk and less into the stuff. But that said, that is it for this video. Those of you who are watching it on YouTube, please like it. If you like it, share it, comment, and subscribe. This is Reg signing off. Love yourselves. Peace.